Okay, and welcome to Tracy's Kenpo Karate Orange Belt, Lesson 5, and this time it is Lesson 5. I apologize for the mistake in the last lesson where I said it was 5, but it was actually 4. But we are on Lesson 5. You're going to be learning techniques 9 and 10, which is dancer and opponents at sides. As always, I'll try to point out the differences between me and the way Tracy's teach it, in case you're doing more of a traditional learning more of a traditional style of Tracy's. Okay, so let's bow in and get started. Okay, the first technique we're going to learn is dancer. And yes, I have altered this one slightly. For whatever reason, my instructor taught me this the opposite direction. Probably more likely because he's left-handed and not right. But it feels very natural for me. In which case, what we're going to do is, the traditional way Tracy does this is they step right, dancer back right behind your left foot. So this is a dancer step. So when you step in front, or I'm sorry, when you step behind, you're doing a dancer step. When you step in front, you're doing a twist stance. Just to clarify those differences. So if someone tells you to stay dancer back right, this is what you're doing. You're dancing your right foot back, which sets you up to pivot and strike. So for the not the A version, just for the technique dancer, the way Tracy does it is they step back right, or dancer right, ridge hand the groin, come underneath, ridge hand the groin, and then they just slide out into a fighting stance. And I did forget to tell you, this is for a two-hand grab from behind. Now, if you do this technique right, you shouldn't have to strike. You should be able to get out of it without striking because of the way they're grabbing. In other words, if you just dancer, you should already have their arms crossed, which is going to make it hard for them to hang on. And if you continue on the motion, that'll break the grip even further. So once again, the traditional way that Tracy does this is they step back right, chop left, then take their left foot and slide back to about the 10-30 position into a fighting stance. Now, the way I do this, there again, right off the bat it's going to be the opposite direction, but basically the same, in the sense that we're going to step back, chop the groin, but this time when we step back, instead of doing it right, we're stepping back left. Chop with the left, underneath, chop with the right. Now, this is the other part where we differ from Tracy's. Instead of sliding back out to face our opponent, we're going to spin out of it. Okay? So as we've done our chop, we're going to take our right foot and we're going to place it to about the 4 o'clock position as we come out of it. Now at this point, as you come out, you can either go to your fighting stance, but what we teach students is for a street scenario, as you come out of it, you can come out of it, adjust your left foot back slightly, and you've got yourself a ridge hand, a heel palm, a corkscrew back fist, or you can just come out and just do a straight punch. Now, why do we do it differently? Well, like I explained, as far as the left versus right, I think that's more of the fact that my instructor was left-handed, so it was more natural for him to do that. As far as the dancing out, that's more of a preference, because when we're dancing here, there again, we're not face-to-face with our opponent. We're now out of both grabs. We don't have to worry about anything, and we're on what they would call the dark side of them almost. And we can throw our punches from here. So it's a little bit safer than standing up right in front of him. If something went wrong and you come out right in front of him, he's right there to strike back. Going off to the side just a bit does limit the number of types of techniques you can use, but you're still in a position to defend yourself, and there's a lot less to defend. So once again, the way I teach dancer is from here and do it this way so it'll be easier for you to see. As I step back left, chop, right, chop, bring my right foot, step out and around and into a fighting stance. You can also follow up with strikes. Okay, the traditional way that Tracy does it is they're going to step right, come back right, come back underneath with their left, and then they're going to slide their left foot back as they go into their stance, which makes them in direct line, so you have more of a target, but you're also more opened up to a strike if you didn't get those first two strikes right and you just step out of it. You could be coming right into a punch. So, the way I teach it, we're going to dance your back left, chop the groin, come underneath the arms, right ridge hand and chop the groin. Now you want to make sure you go under the arms, okay? Don't come across where your head's hitting them. Okay, we're not trying to clear them, we're trying to get the arms to cross because they're most likely going to hang on to you. So we want the arms to cross. So 1, 2, and then from here we're going to spin all the way out and come off to the side of them so that they can, it's harder for them to attack and easier for us to defend. Okay, from this angle, the way I do it, we're going to step left, chop, right, chop, come all the way around, and we're here. This sets you up for ridge hands, heel palms, back fist, it doesn't matter. Okay, so one more time. Dancer, the traditional way that Tracy's does it, is they're going to do right because most people are dominantly right-handed. Chop, dancer back right, chop the groin right. Ridge hand, now you want to come straight up the middle and go straight down, okay? Straight up and straight down. And then from here, just slide your foot back into your fighting stance. And that is dancer. Now the next one, opponents and sides, A, B, C, and D. These are a little more involved, but not much. The first one's probably the most difficult to get down. The rest of them are just simple, one move for each side. Now the first part of this is each opponent's got one hand on their shoulders, okay? So you got an opponent here, step out like this, and then you got an opponent here, step out like this. So they're just kind of hanging on to you. And it may be because there's a third party coming involved, or maybe they're trying to escort you out the door. That's kind of irrelevant at this point. It's more of the setup, okay? Now because they have those one hands, that leaves their entire center line open. And that's what we're going to attack. Now a lot of this first move is a wing chop, or a knife edge to the throat. A lot of instructors will teach it coming out. Okay, I don't teach it coming out because that's easy to block, it's easy to see. I teach the students to bring their hands straight up and use the blind spot coming up underneath it to do the wing chop. So it comes straight up and then just curves at the very last second. So you're going to use the contour of their body to kind of follow up and strike. That makes it harder to block if it's in tight to them. If it's way out here, all you have to do is bring the hands up. So when we do this, okay, now this second part of this is what we call a hot plate method. In other words, we're going to get in and get out. Imagine that's a really hot plate, you touch it and you're out, okay, in and out. Okay, that's what we call a hot plate method. In other words, we're not going to stand there and think about this, we're going to hit and run. So the first part of this move is we're going to step slightly to the 3 o'clock position as we do a wing chop. Okay, this is what I want to see. The hand comes straight up so it looks like a wing, and then it comes straight up. Just like that. So it should go right under their chin and into their throat. Okay, so that is the first move. Then we have the hot plate. So you want to go 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to step to 3, wing chop, then step, cross step or twist stance to 9 as we jump out of it. So hit and run. Okay, so this should be in and out. Okay, there just went my carpet. Okay, so in and out. Okay, so we want to come in, hit, come back here. As we have this hand in check, we're going to pivot around. This hand's going to do like a clearing action to make sure there's no punches there, but it will also act as a clearing for this one as we do either a chop to the neck or a hammer fist to the temple. I believe the traditional way is a chop to the neck, but it's just as easy to come in and strike right there at that temple with the hammer fist. So the A version is 1 step pivot. Now here's your power pattern. Okay, as we're hitting, we're going to set up our twist stance. Our twist stance is going to give us the power we need to strike this, the strike here to the neck or the temple. Now another thing you can do is, for straight purposes, is strike through them so that you can reset up to strike back. Okay, so the A of opponents at sides. One, here, hand is high, so as we hit, it's just going to come around and swing and strike. So that hand will really never stop moving for very long. Okay, and this is what we want to see. We want to in, out. Okay, in and out. Okay, don't stand there, just hit them and run. Then as you pivot, strike. And that's opponents at sides A. Now, opponents at sides B. Each opponent has two hands on you. Now they're up in the shoulder range. So they're way up high, grabbing your shoulder like this. Now, we can't wing chop this opponent anymore because the arms are in the way and they're protecting the throat. But that does leave open his solar plexus and his groin for a strike. Now, you could go to the solar plexus with like a back fist, but it wouldn't be that hard for them to block it because their hands are right here. Okay, so they could just really easily block that. So we're going to go down a little lower and we're going to step, hammer fist. Okay, now we're going to use that hot plate method again. We don't want to stand there very long. We want to hit, cross step, hammer fist. Now from here, you could pivot out and follow up with other techniques to this guy, being aware that this guy may still be capable of attacking. So again, on the B version, hit, strike. So it's just two hammer fists. Mainly you just want to watch the footwork. Or the footwork, if you take away the strikes, is identical to A. Hit, strike. Okay, so we're going to hit and run. Both those A and B uses that exact same foot maneuver. 1, 2. The difference is A, wing chop, hammer fist, clear and grab. Okay, now you don't have to grab, but I always like to try to grab a handle whenever I can get my hand on one. Because then from here I can go into other techniques. I can break the arm. I've got a better control of the opponent rather than just clearing that arm. Okay, so A, wing chop, hammer fist, grab. B, same footwork, hit, hammer fist, out, hammer fist, stepping to 3 and 9. So 1, 2. Okay, so you got opponents at sides A, which is one hand on your shoulder. You got opponents at sides B, you got two hands on the shoulder, which blocks the throat and somewhat blocks the groin or the midsection, so we're going to strike the groin. Now we're on to C and D. So C and D is the hands. And C, they've got one hand on you, just like this. Okay? Not sure why they got one hand on you. Maybe they're escorting you, maybe they're controlling you, waiting for a third or fourth party to show up. What we're going to do is simply, because we know where their hands are, we're going to counter grab, pivot, and pull them into a back kick. Set the foot down, pivot, pull into a back kick. Okay, make sure you pull. Because there again, we don't want them just standing there so you can throw the kick. You want to pull them off balance. And as you pull this guy off balance, you can start pulling this guy by bringing your arms together. Back kick, back kick. Okay? So, opponents at sides A, one hand on each shoulder, wing chop, in and out, clear grab, or just clear hammer fist or chop to the neck. The B version, same foot maneuver, just different hand strikes. Strike the groin, strike the groin. Okay, then we got the C, hands out, one hand on each hand, counter grab, pull back kick, pull back kick. That brings us to D. D is more of the likely scenario where you got both hands on your opponent, one kind of around the forearm, the other around the shoulder area, more of an escort maneuver. So because this is more of an escort maneuver, first thing we teach our students is, and this isn't taught in Tracy's, this is just me personally, is as you step into, as you pull them in, you want to step in to pull them in. Okay, you want to pull them in this way. And the theory is if you got them like this and you step, they're going to put their foot forward to brace themselves from going any further. That's what we want. We want all that weight on that foot. Because as we step with our left, because we're going to take our right, I'm going to do a side thrust kick, rechamber, set down, do a side thrust kick. Okay, we're hoping that in both, as we step, well, the result we want is the guy to step forward and put that left or right foot right out there and all that weight on it so it's easier to break. Also, if all the weight's there, then it makes it hard for them to counter or readjust to what you're doing. So the D version, step forward left slightly, bring those arms together, just jerk them as hard as you can, off balance, break with a side thrust, break with a side thrust. Now Tracy there again teaches a back kick at this point. I prefer the side thrust kick. It's easier to target and it can do more damage a lot quicker because it's a power kick. It's a fast power kick. Okay, so we got opponents at sides A. Wing chop in and out. Remember, one, these two should go together. Hit, run. Clear, grab if you can. Chop the neck, hammer fist the temple. Again, hit and run. Either hammer fist or chop. B, same foot maneuver. We're just going to now do change the striking because the arms are in the way. They're in this position. So the solar plexus and the neck is blocked. So we're going to step out, hammer fist, step out, and cross step, hammer fist. Okay, that's C. I'm sorry, that's B. C, counter grab, one hand on each arm, back kick. Set down, back kick. Okay, and then opponents at sides D, two hands, one high, one low. They're escorting you. So to kind of stop that, we're going to pull them in and jerk them off balance to get hopefully that right leg forward. Left leg will work, but right will be much easier. So that all the weight's there. As soon as all the weight's on that right, break the knee, rechamber, set down, break the knee with a side thrust kick. Okay, so in lesson 5, you have learned dancer, which is for a two-hand choke. There again, we're going to attack the thumbs and cross the arms, which will make it almost impossible for them to hang on to. So we're going to do a left chop as we dancer left. Then we're going to pivot under the arms and look just past 630 with our head as we right ridge hand the groin. We're going to then take our right foot, step out to about the 430 position, hands up into a fighting stance. But be aware when you practice this at home, or maybe even on a bag, or even on a bob if you have one, practice throwing in an extra strike there as you come out of it. Get used to that. Just use that momentum you've already built up. It's there. You're not adding anything to it. You're just using what you've already got. And you can throw a ridge hand. If the guy's doubled up, you can heel palm him, stand him back up. You can do a corkscrew back fist. There's a lot of things you can do at that point. So again on dancer A, from here, left, dancer back, chop the groin, pivot underneath, chop the groin, soft bow at this point, step out, adjust your stance to set up your fighting stance, and set. Then if you want, practice throwing in that extra strike. Then we got opponents at sides A, one hand on each arm, so the whole center line is open. We're going to wing chop. There again, we're not going to come out. We don't want to make it easy for them to see and easy for them to block. We want it right up the center line of the body and as close as you can without touching them. Hit, adjust immediately, hammer fist the temple or chop the neck depending on your preference. Grab the arm if you can, but always clear it. So again on A, hit, run, chop, or hammer fist. B, two hands on you on the shoulder. Okay? So now you can't block that wing chop. Okay? The arms are in the way. You can't use it. You can't go to the solar plexus because two hands are high. The solar plexus are likely blocked, even though you might get one in there. It would be drastic. It'd be a chance to do, not drastic. It would just be a chance to take that you don't need to, especially with the groin wide open. So we're going to do the exact same footwork. We're just going to change the strikes. strike, strike. Okay, then we got the C version. One hand on each arm. You notice 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, one high, one low. That's the pattern we're getting here. So from here, one hand on each. We're going to pull them in as we counter grab. Pull them into a back kick, pull them into the back kick, and get them off balance and aim right for those ribs as the guy stretches out. That leaves us with the final technique variation of this, the D version. And then that one is, we're assuming we're being escorted. So we're going to step forward with our left, jerk them off balance, get all that weight on that forward lead, side thrust kick the leg, set down, side thrust kick for the other leg. Okay, those are your first 10 techniques of orange belt. You guys are doing great. Hang in there. You're getting there. You're a quarter of the way done. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to send them in the comment or in the chat section of this Patreon website. Okay, all the best. See you in your next lesson.